All right, we are continuing our study from the book of Proverbs, Life in Proverbs. And so we're going to catch up on our scripture reading here in Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1, we're going to start with verse 8. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 8. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Verse 9. For they shall, I want you to pay attention to this, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head and chains about thy neck. So here's where we are. We end it with understanding in verse 7, as we dealt with in the last program, that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. That's where we left off. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, and fools despise, watch this, wisdom and instruction. So we talked about the distinction between the four characters that Proverbs shows us here. The first three was the simple man, the young man, the wise man. We saw that wisdom gives substance to the simple man. Wisdom gives knowledge and discernment to the young man. To the wise, wisdom will increase their learning and give them a broader audience of wise counsel. But to the fool, the scripture says, the fool despises wisdom and instruction. The fool represents the person that is a step beneath the fool, because the step beneath the simple, because the fool believes that they don't need anything else. They have arrived, they have achieved, they're finished, they're done. They're not striving to become anything more than what they believe they are. They despise wisdom and instruction. Verse 8 and verse 9 are key verses here, because Solomon wants to make sure his children or his sons, his children or his followers do not misstep like the fool. You have to see this in its proper context. Solomon is passing on a kingdom to his successors, to his children, to his family. He's passing on great wealth. He's passing on great power. He's passing on great fame and reputation. His children, his sons, in the natural, they are not going to want for anything. But yet, Solomon wants to make sure they have an appetite, a voracious appetite for what's most important. He does not want them to be like a fool who simply despises wisdom and instruction, does not recognize the value, the treasure that wisdom represents. He wants to make sure that his children don't get caught up in the gold that he leaves behind, that they don't get caught up in the titles and the reputation that Solomon leaves behind. He wants to make sure that they chase after something that's important, the most important element that God has made available to his creation, wisdom. So here's how he emphasizes that in verse 8 and verse 9 by saying, my son, hear the instruction of your father and your mother, and don't forsake the law. Hear the instruction of your father and don't forsake the law of your mother, making sure that they don't depart from the instruction that they have grown up in, or the laws that their parents have established for them, so that they don't depart, they don't venture away from the path, stay with me here, from the path that has been established for them. Not the path of wealth and riches, but the path concerning wisdom and instruction. Don't stray away from that path. That's what Solomon is saying.